Now that the dye is good and dry, let's go ahead and wet it. Actually, some people do their burnishing while the dye is wet on the edges. Me, I like to do it in steps. You know, basically let the dye dry and then do my burnishing. And I've got two burnishers. This one I use for browns, you know, like saddle tans and browns and other non-black colors. Yeah, I know, segregation. Then I have a burnisher just for black, because what happens if I use this on a brown holster, some of the black comes off, and I don't like that. But anyway, first thing I'm going to do is wet that edge and then go over it with the burnisher. First, I'm going to start off by doing a wet burnish. Just wet the edge and rub it briskly. And what that does is it gives you a nice looking edge there. Because the cut edge isn't exactly attractive. There's some instances where I leave it like that because, you know, if that's the look I'm going for. Basically, rub it briskly with the burnisher. Let me hold it up here. There we go. And it smooths the edge and brings out a bit of a shine. And that's easier to do on this edge and this edge now, actually this one too. While it's flat, than trying to do that after it's all folded over like that. You can see how that would be a bit more difficult to get around in there. You could use this end and do it that way, but as far as I'm concerned, when it's flat like that, it's easier. Now, this is just a water burnish for now. And after I'm done with that, after it looks the way I want it to with just a water burnish, I'm going to come back with the gum tragacanth and do another burnish on top of it. Get really pretty. So, I'm going to continue here, and we'll be back in a minute. Well, pretty much instantaneously for you guys. But we'll be back and we'll set it up for the gum track. See ya then. Well, I finished the water burnish, and basically you just keep going. You just keep burnishing on it and burnishing on it, and as it dries, the fibers stick together and it becomes a nice shiny edge, but it's not going to stay that way. That'll fuzz up real quick. In fact, if I just rub my thumb across it, it'll fuzz up. That's what the gum tragacanth's for. This is actually kind of like a, I guess kind of like a resin. And what that'll do is it'll stick the fibers down. But gum tragacanth is water soluble, so you can't use that as your final finish. So what I do is after I put when I put the final finish on, I also do it on the edges. And then your edges keep. And they stay pretty. They'll wear, you know, you'll get some wear on it eventually. And if you're really picky about it, you can redo your edges. I have and haven't. Actually, let me show you my belt. That's the belt I've been wearing. This is my regular belt. It's double layer, hand stitched. Of course I made it. And those edges have been holding up for years. I mean, when I put my pants on, this is the belt I put on. And it goes with this holster. So anyway, you put your gum tag on. I give it a moment or two to, well, soak in a bit and dry a little bit. Because personally, I found that it works better that way. You can go at it right when it's wet, but I prefer to let it sit for just a moment or two. It's still wet, it's still plenty wet. And again, same thing. As it dries, just keep working at it. And you get a nice shiny burnish on it. Now you figure, that's what an untreated edge looks like. It's kind of ugly. You don't want your holster to look that way. Rather, it looks better that way. Now, of course, I'm doing it on this edge, all the way around here and around here. So, let me get to that. And once we get those edges taken care of for now, then we're going to tan coat the inside. Now, doing edges, I consider edges something you do throughout the entire process. It's not just something you do real quick. Okay, I'm done with edges. Moving on. Like I'm doing edges now, obviously, but after it gets glued, then I got to sand that edge and take care of it. But then you wet mold it, and after it's wet molded, then I go back and I do my edges again. And then after you put a top coat on it, I go back and I burnish that. I give it another little moment or two. But to get a nice edge, you got to keep picking at it all the way through the process until you're down to the point where you're just buffing out the finish and then buffing out the edges. And you get a nice edge. At least that's the goal, is to get a nice edge on it. Like I said, this is my holster, my everyday carry holster, and it's held up really nicely. That's the thing, when I come up with a new design or a new idea, I try it out on myself first. Well, unless somebody has something that they want me to make for them and they already have an idea in their head, then I'll make a pattern and we'll work together on it. But that should be enough. Then come back and just do my burnishing. Okay, I'm going to keep going. We'll be back in a minute. Just let me throw this in here real quick. I was looking at this, and the inside of this holster is a little bit fuzzier than I would have liked. So you can actually take the gum trag and coat and burnish the fuzzy side of the holster to make it smoother. It's somewhat akin to getting pasted leather. I've worked with pasted leather before, and it's pretty nice, but it's expensive. And you get pretty much the same thing by just using gum trag on the back side of a holster to smooth it, which I'll do sometimes if I think it's looking a bit too fuzzy. Which gets it, I don't know if you can really, oh wow, that's really getting worn in there. Never mind. Nah, I'll show you. It's got some wear in it, but you can see how it's smooth in there. And just basically you put the gum trag on. And I just take my burnisher and, well, use that to burnish the nap down. And that makes it nice and smooth. I'm going to do that up here too. Yeah, that's nice. And then once that dries, I can go ahead and put my top coat on it, and that'll seal it in, and it'll stay that way. Yeah, that's looking good. Be back in a moment. Okay, I did the burnishing for a while, and now I'm doing the coating on the inside with the tan coat. And basically, I'm putting on a nice, thin, even coat. Keeping it with the grain. The idea is to make it smooth. So I don't want to go against the grain and raise those fibers. You can tell when you're putting the coating on, because it'll grab in one direction and it'll be smooth in the other. Is it necessary to smooth out the leather on the inside of a holster? Not always, not really. Does it make it nicer? Well, yeah. Especially if you have a hunk of leather that's fuzzy on the inside. You can go ahead and paste that fuzzy down. That's pretty much got it there. I just use a dauber. And I just keep working it. And that'll help to continue to smooth it. Well, that's got it. So now this is one of those things where I gotta let it sit and dry for a while. It's going to sit here for a couple of days. And then the next step is going to be to glue this edge together. Yeah, that's looking good. And when it comes time to glue it, we'll see you then.